A typical day in the savannah turned into something unexpected when a ranger spotted a huge creature from a distance. He could not tell what kind of animal it was, so he moved closer to take a closer look. What he saw made him gasp in shock and take a few steps back. He feared that the animal would attack him once he was detected. In a panic, he grabbed his radio and asked the headquarters for backup and to send a local vet to his location. George has been a ranger in the savannah for years. With his years of experience, George has a good understanding of what his job entails, and that list of responsibilities is growing. Sadly, they lack the finances and manpower to meet the demands of their job. George and the other rangers often have to work long hours and are spread out in a wide area of responsibility. Add to that the perils of encountering wild animals in the savannah. But George and his fellow rangers know the importance of their jobs for the preservation of the savannah and its inhabitants. George was making a drive along his regular route when he saw something strangely large from a distance. At first, he thought he was hallucinating because he was tired and overworked. He even thought that he was suffering from heat exhaustion because he had been out in the sun for hours. But George knew that he was not seeing things. He has been on the job for years, so he has been drinking a lot of water to keep himself focused on the job. So, he decided to take a closer look on foot. After all, this was part of his responsibility. A giant lion. This was when he saw that the large and strange creature was a lion. What he saw shocked him that he took a few steps back right away. He could not believe his eyes. It was the biggest lion that George has ever seen. It was clear that the lion needed help, but he refrained to get too close since he was unsure of how the lion would respond to him. After a few minutes of observation, George had the urge to help the lion. It was clear that the lion was in trouble. Upon closer inspection, George recognized the lion. It was the alpha male of the local lion pack in the savannah. But the lion looked different. He was larger because his belly was very swollen, and it looked like he was having trouble dealing with it. But George knew better than to handle the whole situation by himself. The lion was large, and this is its natural environment. George knew that he had to proceed with caution. He called for additional assistance from other rangers on his radio. George also called up his boss to report the incident. They both agreed that immediate action is needed to protect the lion from whatever it was that caused its stomach to swell. They had to move quickly. When the other rangers arrived and saw the lion, they decided to contact a veterinarian that was near the area. The vet advised the rangers not to approach the animal because it might attack them since it is in pain. The vet then promised to head there immediately, but requested that the rangers put the lion under sedation so that she could get a better look at it. George and the rangers worked to secure the area so that the vet can work without any risks from other animals. George tranquilized the lion, and fortunately, the sedation worked quickly. The lion did not even fight against it. In fact, it seemed like it was cooperating because it knew that the humans could help. Now that the lion was sedated, the rangers moved closer cautiously. They were close enough to see which part of the lion was heavily swollen, and the bulge was clearly found in one specific place, the beginning of its stomach. But there was a problem. The vet was not around yet. She was stuck in traffic in town because it was rush hour. When she was able to reach the savannah, she had trouble locating the ranger and the lion, and she knew better than to explore the huge area all by herself. The vet decided to go to the headquarters of the rangers, and fortunately, the rangers there were aware of the exact location where George was. The manager offered to drive her to the location on his all-terrain Jeep since it was a far drive. The whole trip took 3 hours. Meanwhile, George and the rangers were growing restless waiting for the vet. They had used a couple of sedatives in the lion, and they did not have any left. If the sedative from the last shot wears off, they were at risk of losing the lion. When the lion woke up, the rangers had no choice but to use their jeeps to try and block their way back into the depths of the savannah. They had to slowly drive the jeeps around in circles because they only had 2, and it was not enough to completely block the lion off. Seeing that his way is blocked, the lion looked aggravated. The jeeps circling around him were not putting him at ease. The rangers started to doubt their plan. If the lion gets mad, it could easily attack them. A lion that size can easily go for the kill. And as predicted, the lion started to become aggressive. It started trying to attack the rangers and the jeeps, and some of them had close calls. This was the scene when the vet finally arrived. The vet needed to think quickly. She knew the only choice was to sedate the lion, but there was also the risk of the lion not being able to wake up from this. But the rangers' lives were at stake. Without hesitation, she took out the sedatives she brought with her and waited for an opportunity to get close to the lion. The vet bravely approached the scene, injection in hand, and seeing this, the rangers tried to distract the lion. The vet was able to administer the sedative to the lion's lower body. She quickly ran away and signaled everyone to wait until the lion was down. It took some minutes for the lion to slow down. The vet approached again to give another dose of sedative since a lion of this size needed a huge dose to be completely unconscious. When the vet approached to give another dose, the lion was already down. Seeing this, the rangers were relieved. They were so exhausted and some of them even fell to their knees. It was an understandable reaction considering that they almost got killed by a lion. The vet arrived just in time. When the vet finally got to take a closer look at the lion, she was puzzled. The lion must have eaten something it should not have. But what could it be and why was it causing so much swelling? The rangers looked on curiously as the vet did her inspection. The vet was clearly shocked at how large this lion was. She admitted that she had never seen a case like this before, especially on a lion. She needed to be sure about what she was dealing with. The vet said the lion needed an ultrasound and asked the rangers to retrieve her kit from the jeep. What she saw in the ultrasound confirmed her suspicion, and she asked the rangers to call the authorities because something had to be reported. It was something that could not be broken down by the lion's digestive system, and this had caused the swelling. The vet had no choice but to do emergency surgery right there on the field. Smell of blood can attract other predators nearby. Everyone else had to be alert as the vet operated. Another risk was that they were not in a sterile operating room. The vet had to do her job with precision and care to avoid additional problems. The vet cut through the skin, the muscle, and then the esophagus. Finally, the source of the bulge was exposed. The vet reached into it and took out a piece of meat that was not digested properly. But when the vet took it out, she gasped in shock. Something was glowing inside the meat. George instantly knew what it was. He told the police officers and the vet that it might be a small microchip. George then told everyone about a run-in he recently had in the savannah with a few suspicious characters. They turned out to be poachers and they were using a tracker. George remembered that they dropped the device while fleeing and he went to his truck to retrieve it. He handed it to the cops who immediately recognized it, saying they also caught someone who was using the same thing. That device could track microchips. The poachers were probably aiming to capture the lion and planted the microchip so they could track it. It was a new hunting plan that poachers have been using lately. Unfortunately, the lion had trouble digesting the meat they used, so it caused the lion to swell. The veterinarian made sure that the lion had no other issues before she started to close him up. Aside from the swelling caused by the microchip, he seemed to be in good health. She told everyone present that she believes the lion would make a full recovery in no time. The lion woke up a few minutes after the surgery. By this time, everyone had moved further away to maintain some distance between them and the lion. It looked dazed at first but began to walk away back into the savannah. Everyone was glad to see that the lion seemed to be okay. It definitely looked better than he was before the surgery. The vet asked George to keep a close eye on the lion for a few days for her and to inform her right away if anything was wrong. The police made sure that the responsible poachers will get caught. In a few weeks, thanks to a vigilant investigation, they were not only able to catch the poachers, but they were able to bring down their whole organization. George and the other rangers were able to relax a little now that a major problem in the savannah was fixed. To this day, George still makes sure to check on the lion that gave him an unforgettable moment on the job.